There's been no shortage of controversies surrounding Magic the Gathering over the last week, and I have another one for you where one of their primary artists, a guy who's worked not just for Magic but for D&D, if you don't know, they're both the same company with Wizards of the Coast, who is an artist who has just said horrific things, kind of wishing death upon President Trump, and of course mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. When I first saw the first image, I almost didn't cover it because I was like, okay, well, it's a tasteless joke, that's not a big deal. But with the track record of him also then, calling for President Trump's death and the like, it is something that's disgusting. Now, you got to remember, this is right in the wake of Magic the Gathering having a giant tournament where one of their professional players, Joe Bannon, was banned because he wore a MAGA hat to one of the conventions and, of course, was trying to play in the tournament there, and that was that. Now, there's more developing with that as it goes along. I'll cover it probably in another video, but let's get into this controversy right now that's bubbling up as Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast are one of the worst woke companies out there. They've been this way for a long time. They're unrepentant about it. They're continuing along with what they're doing, and this is just another example of it. So please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things. This is your real fantasy news, my friends. And of course, I'm a Magic player, D&D player from a long time back, and big into fantasy fiction as well. I'm a fantasy writer, and eventually I'd love to have my own settings and games and the like. This is my steampunk setting because I noticed there wasn't a great steampunk setting in fantasy. And so I tried to emulate some of the stuff that I remember from Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI with airship adventuring and the like, which is what I loved out of those and that I really wasn't getting from the genre. So I created an airship crew that goes out and they're swashbuckling adventures. They fight monsters. They get involved in some crazy wars that are going on. And this is kind of like the setting that Magic the Gathering should be, doing stuff like this. But they don't because they're so focused on identity politics these days. To support some independent fiction, this is in the description below. It's available on ebook, print, and audio, and I really appreciate you guys for checking it out and supporting our books. This is the future, my friends. Of course, independence is the way to go. And yes, the beginning of the month, so grab this, get your Audible credits, support our channel today, and thank you for being here. So this is the new controversy today. D&D and Magic the Gathering artist Todd Lockwood mocks Charlie Kirk and posts meme wishing death upon Trump. This is pretty crazy, like I said. And so if you don't know who he is, he's widely recognized for his fantasy gaming fiction. He did Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and the Drizzt novels, especially by R.A. Salvatore. Those are some of my favorite. If you guys read those, let me know in the description below. Love to connect with you guys and be a part of this great book community. Those are fantastic. And R.A. Salvatore, by the way, another person who's gone like crazy Trump deranged in recent years. He's just nuts. And that's why he still works for them. That's why he still gets work. That's how the industry goes at this point. If you are a part of the publishing industry, if you're a part of Wizards of the Coast in the gaming industry, you are a woke nightmare. It's a rule. You're not allowed to be anything else. You're not even allowed to be silent, it seems like, because silence is violence, they always talk about. But these people literally advocate for violence, and that's why things are getting increasingly hostile and crazy out there with stuff happening today. So he joined TSR's staff in the late mid-90s, played by a leading role in the visual overhaul in Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, earning over 15 Chelsea Awards and 2 World Fantasy Art Show Awards for his influential work. So pretty big guy here. In addition to shaping the fantasy genre's visual landscape with paintings and book covers, Lockwood is also an author noted for his own novel, The Summer Dragon. So much of the tabletop industry is crazy, and he fell into Trump derangement where he's approaching atrocious things. So right after the Charlie Kirk assassination, he posted this: "I removed my Kirk out post too soon." And yeah, this is something that, like, if it was just by itself, like I said, I wasn't going to cover it because, I laugh at 9/11 jokes like anybody else. And so I'm not going to just go after somebody hard over just an edgy joke. Now, if you don't know the Kirk out reference, it's a Star Trek reference. And so for me, he just made a Star Trek reference where, Captain Kirk would be on his communicator. And, when he's communicating with the ship, he'd always say Kirk out. That's what he would say. And so this isn't something as bad as a lot of the people out there were saying. And yes, I'm being very gracious. I know. I'm being too gracious to a leftist. And that's exactly why I covered this. That's why we're covering it today, because my first instinct is just to be a nice guy, just be like, it's an edgy joke, don't cancel the guy. But then you go in and you see what happens. So this is what he posted a week earlier. "Is he dead yet?" asked Piglet. "No," asked Pooh. "F," said Piglet. And this is a reference to President Trump asking if he's dead. And so he's actually wishing death upon President Trump a week earlier to it. And he actually went further the day before, posting this one. I can't believe it's already Is He Dead Yet season. I still have my holy S. He's going to start WW3 decorations up. Oh, yes, so funny stuff. And so this, the left cannot meme, as you know. So, yes, this is a guy who is with this post celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, who Charlie was a friend of mine. Very, very sickening when you get into the context of just how deranged he is. But this is who they hire. This is who they continue to hire at Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast. And it's part of a bigger trend that's going on all the time. And this is something, again, when you look at Wizards of the Coast and what's going on and everything in tabletop gaming, you have, of course, the banned champion that they from Card Titan, which is Card Titan's not affiliated with Wizards of the Coast, but they are using Magic to do that, and Magic is sanctioning them to ban Trump supporters at this point, right? And Magic has not said anything about this, but what they did say over the weekend is they had a Twitch stream going on where they're supporting Trans Lifeline, and they had this Twitch stream. I didn't watch it, of course, because I am just not going to brain rot myself with this type of stuff, but they were trying to raise money for a transgender charity, this like crazy identity politics activism over the weekend. Like I said, there's a lot of controversies going on right now just involving Wizards of the Coast itself. Now, with this, I don't expect Wizards of the Coast to do anything. They'll ignore Todd Lockwood's statements, but they did actually remove a person who was not woke enough for them back in 2019. I've got some background on this. If you remember this here, Therese Nielsen, who is a Magic the Gathering artist, so just to show the double standard that they have as well, Wizards of the Coast ended their working relationship with Therese Nelson following last year's backlash because of the artist's semi-conservative political views. This is a lesbian, by the way, so it's not that conservative. Now, during the June 18th stream, the Magic the Gathering update show hosted by Daily MTG editor-in-chief Blake Rasmussen, Wizards of the Coast community manager Steve Sanu, Rasmussen voiced a fan question regarding the appearance of Teresa Nelson's art and 3 cards featuring in the upcoming supplemental MTG set Jumpstart. This is back in 2020. And whether the players would not see any more of her art in the future. The response was that they heard fan concerns over their relationship, and the company had not commissioned new art from Therese Nielsen in quite a while, with her last appearance being in the Zendikar Rising set. So are the 3 cards in the Jumpstart with these? Will we see any more of her art in the future? They replied, great question. We hear you. We haven't commissioned new art from her in quite a while. The last product we have any reprint with her is Fall in Zendikar Rising. So that was that, and this is because of this. So there was... what happened with this, the artist was accused of being alt-right and fascist and a bigot because she and her, disordered relationship person that they label wife, which I'm not going to call it that anymore because it's not, they made tweets critical of Antifa, which is a terrorist organization at this point, right? And President Trump, and followed political commentators ranging from conservatives, Mike Cernovich and Jack Posobiec, to Alex Jones and Stefan Molyneux. So just because this person followed people, Wizards end their relationship. However, you see this type of thing with this artist, Todd Lockwood, and guess what? Nothing happens. Wishing death upon a president. Totally cool. Won't say anything. And I bet you like there's not even going to be anybody else other than me reporting on this, which is the craziest part about this. And so this is the absolute state of Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons & Dragons. You can't support this company at this point. They need to be gone, and that's it. These are just awful people. They want you dead. This is the state of the tabletop gaming industry. It's very, very sad to see at this level. And as I said, completely hypocritical. If somebody even follows the wrong person, they've fired somebody. But you say something like this, nothing. Silence from Wizards of the Coast. Shocking. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out my For Steam and Country, little different stuff from Wizards of the Coast. This is a great series. Get the whole, it's not trilogy, 6 books right today. Start reading. Thanks for being here, and we'll be back soon.